one. Or if you... We're doing a video again on Ted Whitting, Christopher's father. And we just asked Christopher, do you have a picture of your dad that we could actually, instead of having that crazy cartoon of him up there, can we just get a picture of a nice picture of Ted? And actually, John, yeah, there's a great picture of Christopher and his dad at one of your old gigs. When you played on Valentine's Day and you sang My Funny Valentine, and he showed up with the wife, and your friends were there. It was, I forget the name of the club. Tim was playing with you then. Right. And there's a great picture that someone took, I believe Alan took it, of you, of your father-in-law Ted and Christopher laughing over a joke sitting during your break in the gig. And that's a great shot. And Lena posted that picture not long ago, but we can't find it. So I don't know, maybe if Christopher can find it online. Forget it. We'll try to find it later and we'll post it later. But John, here's the important thing, because yesterday we did a memorial for Ted Whitting, who died at 87, about 48 hours ago. Christopher's beloved father and friend. He really was a good friend to Chris. Those two had a relationship that was different than the other brothers or the sister. He had a different relationship with all of those kids. I saw how he operated, and he had a unique relationship with each and every one of them on a different level. But him and Chris were really like comrades. They were friends. They shared a common sensibility. Yes. On some things. And when they would argue, it would be funny too, but it was never terrible, and there was a whole lot of love between them. Mm-hmm. But what John reminded me of this morning, and I almost burst into tears because I says, how could I forget that? When I first met Ted, I was alone. I was not introduced to him by Christopher. Like, Christopher introduced me to his mother. He introduced me to other members of his family. This is Lynn. He introduced me to Teddy, his brother, at a gig. He introduced me to everyone, but he did not introduce me to his father. He had brought me over to his parents' house, this house where I'm living now. And he went inside to pick something up, and he left me outside. And I said, I'll just wait here by the gate. That's okay. I don't remember why I didn't go inside with him. He just said, I'll be right out. He was getting something. He might have been, I don't remember what he had to do, but I hadn't met his family yet. It was that early in the relationship. I was standing out front and I was barefoot. It was early spring. And I was always barefoot. I had left my shoes in my car. And I had my guitar. I was strumming my guitar. I was standing in front of the gate. I wasn't even inside the gate. I was standing in front of the gate, strumming my guitar. I remember I was working on a song that I had written at the time, Black Yamaha. And I was working on this song, kind of leaning on the gate, but not really. I remember looking down at my feet. And all of a sudden, I heard a voice saying, "Hello there." And I looked up, and it was Ted Whitting, dressed in a business suit, coming home from work. Late afternoon. There's still plenty of sun up in the sky. And I knew immediately, well, this has got to be his father. They didn't really look alike, but they did. And he was tall, like Chris is tall. And there was something about the way he looked at me. And I said, "You must be Chris's dad." And he said, "And you must be Lynn." My son says you're terrific. And I said, well, how nice. And he looked very shy, but he had a big smile on his face. And he just said, it's very nice to meet you. And then he quickly walked into the house. And I thought, what a nice gentleman in his suit and all. Didn't even loosen his tie to ride the train home or to walk the quarter of a mile or so from the train to his house. He kept that suit looking probably as fresh as he did when he left for work that morning. And that's the memory I should really hold on to. I don't want to let go of the wonderful memories of him screaming at me at the funeral parlor. Those are worth something too because they're funny. And he was a very funny guy, a lot of times without intending to be, but he had a good sense of humor. I also remember him, we had to meet Christopher at the Yankee game. We were going with him to the Yankee game, just me, Ted, and Christopher. And me and him were going to drive there together, and Chris was going to meet us at the stadium because he was going straight from work. And I remember how shy he was all of a sudden when it was just me and him in the car for the drive. He was very uncomfortable. He was very ill at ease. And I thought about it later and I said, he was shy. He knew how to talk a good game when his whole family was around or when Christopher was there with me. He could talk up a storm and really want to be center stage. But when it was just me and him, he was very shy. And it was the same shyness that he exhibited when he first met me. He was not one to stand and talk for very long. He just told me that his son thought I was terrific. And then he just was, split. And there's something endearing about that memory, too. And yeah, we had those couple of times when it wasn't even a butting of heads. When I think of it now, his attitude when he would be difficult or unpleasant, it was always something that he was protecting something about his image, about what his family meant to him, and do not mess with this image that I have of my life with this family that I have built. I've worked very hard for this. And you're not about to come busting in here and messing it up. But I never wanted to do that. All I ever wanted to be was a part of this family. Of any family that would love me. And appreciate what I had to offer. But that always seemed to turn people off about me. I don't know why. And I can't really help that because of who I am. I can't be anyone else. And I guess neither can they. What is it, John? I'm showing you another memory of the old man. Oh. This is a great one. We went out to Sound Beach, right? we had a lot of fun out in Sound Beach. I did with him. I like drinking with the guy. It was kind of crazy. Have we mentioned that yet? Holy shit. So he's got a thing for playing games, like any game, board games, cards, any fucking thing. He's like, he goes insane. He's got to play these games. He wants everybody to play games with him, which is really nice, actually. Because my father, my own biological father, was the opposite. He was not like that with me. He took my brother bowling, and he was all into that kind of crap, and so that he could sit at the bar in the bowling alley. But my father would not. Are you kidding? Come home and play a board game with us? My father came home drunk every night and fucking told me I was a piece of shit. And that's what I had every night. So, Father Whitting, he was just like really funny. He loved playing games and getting people involved in these games. But cards, he loved to play cards, right? Shockingly, he didn't know how to play brisk. That was a disappointment to me. I was like, oh my God, I would have had a ball playing brisk with this guy. And he couldn't learn it either. I was trying to teach it to him, and he was unteachable with brisk. Brisk is a very specific game geared at people whose brain works a certain way, Lena. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. I couldn't teach him. I couldn't teach his wife. Nobody could figure out what I was trying to teach them, and I'm a pretty good teacher. Especially with brisk. I taught a lot of people at the park how to play. Yeah. Tiny taught me. Yeah, Tiny taught me how to play brisk. Thank you, Tiny. It was a great game. Had many, many fucking great years playing that. But getting back to Ted. So he was dying to fucking get a card game going, and everybody's kind of avoiding it because, they just they're tired of him. Like his wife's tired of it by now. And Grammy was there. Yeah. It was me, Christopher, Grammy, Jeanette, and Ted. And Grammy would always be up. He said she would always be up for cards. So, but, she was kind of relaxing and talking to I remember Grammy was out on the porch talking to Christopher. And all of a sudden, my father-in-law says to me and him are sitting on the couch just having a drink, and there's sports on TV. And I was just really relaxed. I didn't feel like doing anything, except I almost felt like I was falling asleep on the couch. It had been a long day out in Sound Beach, and I was kind of just, kind of falling asleep and feeling dozy and not wanting to do anything. And my father-in-law says, I'm thinking of maybe trying to get a card game going. And so I just politely looked over at him and said, oh, yeah? And he goes, Len wants to play He jumps up. I almost fell off the couch. Len wants to play cards. He goes running. I thought it was a joke. It happened so. It was so Larry David, insane. He jumps up and runs out to the porch where Grammy and Chris are sitting, and he's like, Len wants to play cards. Let's get the cards out. Let's go. And I'm just like, okay. And I remember Grammy oh, she does? All right, we'll play if Lynn wants to play cards. So I'm like, I never said I wanted to play cards. But I don't want to ruin it for the guy. Yeah. So we did. We had fun. I don't remember if Chris's mom got into the game. She was getting ready to cook or something. She wasn't really around, but he was yelling that I wanted to play cards. Yeah. And we ended up playing for good 2-3 hours. I think poker. It was fun. I had to learn how to play, remember. I didn't know how to play. Yeah, I didn't know how to play poker. And I've probably forgotten since then. That was the only time I ever played poker. You believe it? Yeah. Well, you made him happy. Yeah. And Lena, there's a lot of great memories with you. You and your interaction with him was great. I mean, Chris used to come home and say, my dad sends his love. He loves you. And you just never believed him. You always just said, yeah, sure, he does. They all love me, his family, right? He did, Lena. Oh, here's another good memory, right? When I was in the psychiatric ward, yeah. I met this woman, this Chinese woman. She could speak. No, it was amazing. We were best friends. What the hell was her name again, John? Oh, she had an American name. Yeah. Not Joanne. It was the weirdest thing because she was so off the boat. Like, I could not speak English at all, but it was just another one of those situations. We got along really good. And she was in there. She didn't belong in a psychiatric ward. She had to escape her country for some reason because someone was attacking her. I don't know what was going on, but she was completely lucid, this woman, and you could tell she was smart as hell. Like, you just look in her eyes, but she was kind of hanging out there in this psychiatric ward, like sort of on the lam. She needed a lawyer. And that's what she said to me. Can you help me find was it a Korean lawyer? I don't even remember. She was either Chinese or Korean. I do not remember. I swear I don't. What the hell was her name? Anyway, she's like, I've been trying to tell people that I need a lawyer, and I need the lawyer that speaks my language because I need help. I gotta get out of here, and I'm having trouble. Don't ask me how I figured this out, but this is my ability to communicate with people that don't speak my language. I actually gleaned this information from her one day, with no English being said. Can you imagine? I said, I know who can help you. My father-in-law will find somebody for you. I got on the phone, because you can make phone calls out all you want from there, from the ward that I was in. It was very free and loose, Nobody was tied up in straitjackets or anything. Everybody's walking around fucking, to bullshitting and eating chocolate bars and whatever the fuck. Very little supervision, really. And so I was on the phone. I said to my father-in-law, I said to Chris, let me talk to you, Dad. I need to find like a Chinese lawyer. And Chris is like, all right. Okay, why not? My wife's in the psych ward. She needs a Chinese lawyer. Ted he got a bunch of names for me. I explained to him, I said, this woman she's here. It's some kind of deportation thing, and they sent her to this psych ward. She does not belong here, but she's hiding from somebody who's killed somebody. It was this weird story. I don't remember the whole thing. Ted got help for this woman, and she got a bunch of phone numbers, called me back. I gave her all the information. She found a lawyer, and she got the fuck out of there. Thank you very much, Ted. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Lena. Well, of course, but still, this is the kind of guy. He was a resource guy. If you needed something like that, this is just a strange example of what. And he would do it without the blink of an eye. Okay, I'll do that right away. And I swear to God, after my phone call to him, he had the information I needed within an hour. He got back to me with everything. And he had even made sure that there were translators that could help get her out of the hospital. Make sure he found the good lawyer that could be useful for this woman's situation. I would have done the same thing if I was out on the outside, but I didn't have access to that kind of, phone books, information, stuff like that. But Ted was able to fulfill this thing for me to help this woman get out. So these are some wonderful examples. Chris, do you hear these great examples of your father?
I hear them.
Yes. Isn't this a great memorial show as well?
Sure.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing that, people should hear about him. So, I hope, if, he wouldn't have wanted any kind of maudlin garbage. I think I can feel that he does appreciate this type of thing. And he doesn't want anybody to mourn him because he had a wonderful life and a wonderful family that he loved, He's fucking crazy about his family. What? I guess he could have done worse, right? What the hell? There's no murderers there in the family. Not yet, anyway. We'll see. The decade is young. But I have a similar feeling to what Shawnee said when John crossed over. And I had that feeling yesterday as well. When an energy like Ted's crosses over, regardless of his whatever atheism, if he wants to be a skeptic and not say he doesn't believe in God. I don't know if I ever truly believed that he didn't believe in something greater than him. But that's between him and the maker, and that's between him and the mother. But the thing is, like I was saying, the feeling I have about that type of energy when it crosses over, they just become part of something bigger. And that bigger something is ultimately a high vibration that is going to enhance the universal vibration in general. Because I don't think he really wished ill on anyone, not in his life, not really. And I don't ever think that he ever meant to hurt anybody, including me. You know, I have memories too when he was encouraging me to take Haldol or other psychotropic drugs because he felt that they worked for his wife. But that was not what was meant for me. I do not respond to psychotropic drugs. I do not need them. I'm a horse of a different color, and he just didn't understand that. He just wanted me to be calm and not upset his son. But sometimes you have to upset the apple cart, right, John? Yeah. And I know that I was put in place with this family somehow to provide some type of gateway to a greater understanding. And that is something that I've been told by the Ascended Masters. And so I accept that. I will accept that responsibility. And it is a responsibility, and it comes at a price. It comes at the price of rejection. People don't want that kind of enlightenment a lot of the time. They don't like their apple cart being upset, and they don't like to think that their beloved Christopher is now married to a woman who is in love with John Lennon. But that's what happened, folks. And I do know one thing for sure. Ted Whitting now fully understands everything about this journey, and he's going to help bring clarity to the rest of his family, one by one by one.